Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Rooshock and welcome back to another episode of Actual Accountant Analyses, where I, an actual accountant, analyse a business from a popular TV show or movie. Today's business of choice is Puzzles, the bar that Ted and Barney opened on the TV show How I Met Your Mother. Now, How I Met Your Mother is one of my all-time favourite TV shows, and you're probably going to roast me in the comments for this, but I do love the ending of the show. Now, do make sure you stick around to the end because I will go through whether I believe Puzzles would be a profitable bar. Now, let's look at this night where they decide to start this bar and the initial thought behind the concept here.
A bar where no one's overcharged, where everyone feels valued and respected.
A bar where we get chicks drunk and bang them.
Now let's ignore everything that Barney said, but let's look at what Ted said, and his general concept is good. The idea behind the bar of going, hey, we don't want this to be expensive, we want this to be good for our customers, is definitely a good concept to start a business. It is a good foundation there. But there's a major issue already developing here, and we've got the two co-owners on completely different pages. Clearly Ted has a little bit of business mindset to him. His ideas are just going to be ridiculous. My other major concern here is this just seems like a spur-of-the-moment idea. Now, they have discussed it fleetingly in the past, as you'll see here.
I have to take you back a few years, to the night that I uttered 5 little words that every man at some point in his life will say.
We should buy a bar.
Of course, we should buy a bar.
We should totally buy a bar.
So it was an idea they have had before, but it was just a discussion between two mates. If you're starting a business, especially with a friend, you need to make sure the idea is solid and you've actually discussed it in a lot more detail than just over a few drinks one time.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, that'll be $100 each.
What? You said 50.
That was before the place got crowded.
This is something that happens all the time. In business, smart business owners understand the peak times and they typically put prices up. It happens in the bar industry. We're looking at this example here of New Year's Eve and we're going to put our prices up. We're going to put an entry price in place and we're going to change that through the night as it gets popular. This is definitely a genuine business strategy. Airlines do it. Hotels do it. They take advantage of peak times and they rise their prices there because they know that demand. It comes down to simple supply and demand. You do run the risk, though, that it pisses your customers off, as we can see here.
Bloody MacLaren's is a rip-off.
So that is the risk. If you're going to keep increasing your prices or take advantage of these peak times, you could annoy your loyal customers, which is definitely something you don't want to do. It is all about getting that balance of, taking advantage of the increased demand, but also being loyal to your existing customers. And it's a difficulty that a lot of businesses have.
You'd all be better off coming upstairs to my place for a beer.
Hey, dude. You serious?
You can't do that. You cannot just start a bar upstairs in your apartment. You can't just start a business without any licensing. So here in Australia, for instance, you need to have an ABN. You would likely need to have a business name registered. You're going to be employing people, which we'll touch on later. You have to put these things in place before you just start a business. And in particularly a bar. You would need a liquor license. I'm sure in New York City where this is filmed, you need a liquor license. You can't just go and start a bar from your apartment. You can't even just go start a bar in a shop. You're going to need to have a liquor license to be able to sell alcohol. So this is just a big no-no, very illegal from not only a tax point of view, but also from a business point of view. Another major issue is starting a food and beverage-based business from home. Any kind of food and beverage-based business come with a lot of stringent health and safety issues. You need to show that your kitchen, for example, is incredibly clean. You need to show what have you got to be able to wash glasses and stuff that you're giving to people for drinks. This is a very specialized area and it's why people don't just start bars from their apartments.
We like your energy. How would you like to be our star bartender?
This is a very interesting approach to hiring. I don't know if I'd recommend it. We've got a few issues we need to dissect. First, as we've already discussed before, have you even registered for anything? You can't just employ people without registering for wages tax here. What about work cover insurance? What about superannuation? You've got issues that you need to address here and you can't just go and hire someone like this. Now, as a general hiring process, just seeing someone has one particular skill set probably is enough. I'd highly recommend you go and do an interview with someone before you just hire them, especially if they're friends. You need to understand how they fit to your business. Do you need employees? There's just so much that you need to put into place before you go and hire someone. One area that Ted and Barney do nail is branding. We can see from this clip here, they've actually got a pretty good name for the bar.
The name of our bar, Puzzles. People will be like, why is it called Puzzles? That's the puzzle.
Is a great name for a bar.
I love this. I love this idea. By having a good name and a catchy name that's got a bit of a story behind it, it's just increasing your brand. Now, you don't have to have a catchy name, but branding is an important part of growing your business, and the name can be a part of that. One of the reasons why I love this name is it starts little conversations. Oh, have you heard of this bar called Puzzles? What's the name behind it? Have that concept, have the joke. People are likely going to discuss this while drinking, maybe at another bar, and they go, hey, we can go visit that. So it's a pretty cool idea for a name, and it's a pretty good industry to have a catchy name in. Another area that they try to increase their branding is by having a theme song.
Puzzles is a place where people go to feel like they belong.
Gonna take advantage of dumb drunk girls.
No, we're not. Bro, that would be wrong.
I don't know how many bars are going with theme songs, but hey, why not? When you're trying to grow a business, you want to come up with ideas that are unique, and having a theme song for a bar could be unique. Now, we do have to probably ignore every part that Barney's putting to this. I think Ted could probably come up with a much better song that will be just as catchy without some of the crude references that Barney puts in here. But in general, this could be used for TV advertisements, social media advertisements, TikTok shorts. There's multiple ways they could be promoting a bar like this, and having the catchy name and a catchy theme song could be a great way to do it. This is very important when you're in a competitive market. Bars in New York City, I imagine there's a lot of them. So you're going to want to make sure that you're differentiating. Why should someone come to your bar over the competition? Especially in this case when the competition is downstairs. And you can already see there's a loyal audience. The gang from How I Met Your Mother spend all their time at the bar downstairs. So you are going to need to come up with a really good concept, some really good branding on why people should come to your bar instead.
People are getting rowdy and drunk and breaking things. I know this goes against the puzzle's mission statement you made me memorize, but we gotta raise our drink prices.
All right, just a little bit so no one will notice.
Raising prices is a really difficult challenge that any business faces, and your pricing strategy has to be thought out from day one. It's not something you want to get wrong at the start because it can cause a range of issues later on. We can see here in this clip, they start pricing at $2, and with all these issues going on that are happening in the bar, they keep rising the prices, they keep rising, and eventually we end up at a grand total of $49.99 for a drink, which is just insane considering you started at $2. The problem with having such a dramatic rise in pricing is people were coming to this bar because they knew they could get cheap drinks as well. One of their main concepts was don't rip off our customers, and what do they end up doing? Ripping off their customers. So if you've got a product and you're promoting your business as a cheap alternative, then if pricing is a big strategy for you to bring customers in, if you increase your prices, you could lose your key competitive edge. So you really need to think about your pricing is pricing one of your key strategies to bring people in? And therefore, what would be the long-term impact of that? Can your business run at the lower pricing? The issue they're facing is they didn't understand costs to start with. They've now had to go and hire a bartender. We've now got a bouncer as well. Things are getting broken. We've suddenly got more costs, so we're having to put pricing up. Now we've got too many people here, so maybe pricing will put some people away. They're running into a range of issues by not thinking this through. If you promise something in business, you have to deliver. Ted and Barney come up with these great reasons for why they wanted to start the bar, and they just didn't deliver on that.
And also at Puzzles, no last call.
No last call.
Only when every single person is finished having the greatest night of his or her life do we stack the chairs on the table and power down the 3-story margarita waterfall.
We can see they just didn't follow through. You know, it was gonna be cheap drinks, it was gonna be great customer service, no last calls, and they failed on all of those things. And they end up driving all the customers away. And this is a risk in business. If you overpromise and underdeliver, it's going to be a failure. You need to work out what are you going to promise, and you need to deliver on that, or even over-deliver on it. It's the easiest way to keep customers is by over-delivering on what you're promising. But then the challenge becomes promising can be a great way to bring customers in. So it's all about finding that balance of going, hey, what can we do, and following through on it. You can see retaining customers is difficult. MacLaren faces this issue in this episode where Ted and Barney decide to leave because they're charging an additional price to get into the bar. So you need to understand what your customers expect from you, and if you're going to make a change, you want to do a little bit of market research before you maybe go and implement that change. So let's touch on profitability. Do I think puzzles would be profitable? Well, it definitely has some pros. Their branding is good. They've actually thought about this, and they've actually got some pretty good brand concepts there. The general concept behind what they were going to differentiate themselves, I think is also good as well. You know, looking after your customers, good pricing, all positive things. The issues become here as the cons is that this just wasn't thought out. They didn't put enough thought into the overall business, and they really under-delivered on a lot of things. They promised all these things that they were going to do, and as the night wore on, they just really under-delivered on them, which is going to cause them a lot of issues. They're just going to run into a range of other issues, and the fact that this whole concept is probably pretty illegal is definitely a major con. My overall grade for puzzles is going to be a D. Running a bar from home just has way too many issues. Even if it were legal, I think the cost and just the general concept is just not quite strong enough for it to be successful, especially in a busy, expensive area like New York City. Now, you need to tell me in the comments section below what business from a TV show or movie should I cover next. I thank you for watching. I'll talk to you again on the next one.